Hello and welcome. I'm creating this channel to share some of my learnings and explorations while creating art with vector graphics. So for this first video, I'm starting with VectorStyler, which I think is a fantastic, very deep piece of software with a lot of powerful features for very creative vector work. So today we'll start with repeaters. It's one of the unique and extremely flexible features in VectorStyler. And in this first episode, we'll just cover the basics so you can understand the foundation. And we'll keep the more advanced and crazier repeater explorations for future videos. So let's get started. So we'll start with a simple shape. We'll take a circle to start with. We'll draw a small circle, and then we'll open the repeater panel. So I have a shortcut here, which is very convenient. You can add shortcuts in VectorStyler as you want. And so to create a repeater, the simplest method is to select your shape and to click the plus button here, and it will create a repeater. So you see all the circles have been repeated. So let's look at the different parameters. So the first parameter is the geometry. So that's the way the shapes are aligned. So you have a choice between grid, concentric, which turn things in a circle, and random. So we'll go one by one. Let's start with grid. So with the grid, here what we have a shapeless repeater, meaning we have just created it from a simple shape. So the repeater will extend in X and Y directions, and you can control this setting. So you can change the X and the Y. So the nice thing about it is that it will always have complete shapes. It will not cut shapes in the middle. So here you will see that when you extend, it extends by steps. The next parameter is space. So here you can adjust the space between the columns. Or between the rows. You can have negative space if you want to have nice overlaps like this. The shift will allow you to shift rows versus each other. So here you have strange effect because it tries to insert a new column when there's enough space for it. So a good value, for instance, would be 50%. And here you would see like a pattern here where you have alternate rows of balls. With squares, you can also try 33%, which kind of resets every 3 elements. And you can do the same in vertical axis as well. The content parameter will adjust the size of each of the shape. So not changing the geometry itself of the repeater, but instead adjusting the individual size of each shape. The adjust parameter will shrink or expand the whole thing while trying to keep the same extent dimensions. So it means you will have more repeated elements, cells, as you reduce the adjustment, and you will get less when you go above 100%. And the angle, finally, is, as you would expect, you can rotate the whole thing. All right, so we've covered those parameters. This one is, instead of working on a dimension for the whole repeater, you can count, define a fixed count for tiles. And you can increase in X and Y. Gives you more control about that. Before we explore these parameters here, I will change the shape itself, because if it's a circle, we won't see much things going here. So let me show you how you can change the shape after it's been included in a repeater. If you look in the layer panel here, you have a symbol set, which is the repeater itself. And below, or included in a repeater, you have the original shape that was used, and you can see it here. So it's not really visible, but you can see its outline. And I'm going to take the node tool here and transform this circle into, oops, like a slice like this. Select the repeater again. Well, maybe. And here you can see that this one will flip the repeated content horizontally every other row. So you see every other row it's flipped horizontally. This one does the same vertically. And this one alternates between different columns. So it flips horizontally in every other column, and this one does it horizontally. Of course, you can combine, and you can already get a lot of very nice patterns coming out of it. All right, so that was the basic, I would say, grid system. Okay, so now let's explore the circular repeater, concentric repeater. So when you switch to concentric, you see that the arrangement is circular now. You see also that it's clipped in a square that's enclosing the repeater. So to avoid this, I'm going to fixed ring here, which is a setting where you control the number of rings. So it starts with 1, you increase it, and you can display the shapes like this in different rings. You can also activate rotate tiles, which does rotate the tiles around the center. You can also control the inner radius, so that kind of creates a hole in the middle. So this you have to play with both the outside and inside radius to get a nice result. You can, let's maybe explore this one as well. Fix repeat. So here, for the moment, all the shapes are one next to each other, but you can, instead of that, put a fixed angle between shapes in the same circle. And you can then increase the number of repeats you want per circle. That gives a different geometry. The shifting is working like in grid, so it shifts the different diameters, the different rows, the different rings between each other. Spacing, we include a space in between each of the shapes. Gap will do the same, but between each of the rings. I think you can also have negative. Yeah. Content would work the same, and adjust would work also the same. So that was for concentric. Now let's look at random. So random, as you see, is spreading the shapes in a cloud of shapes. And the radius here is the key parameter that will define the average distance between each of the shape. So those shapes are randomly distributed, and there's very complex different methods of creating those random clouds. But essentially, the radius is the key parameter that gives the average distance between them. So the smaller it is, the more shapes are generated. The larger it is, the more sparse it is. I won't go into this one because it's pretty complex, the intensity. I think on this one, I can show you is also how to randomize a little bit more the cloud. And here you have some additional repeater options. And if you go here in adjustment here, you can edit that. And you can, for instance, adjust the scaling. So say from So you see that the shapes have been scaled from 18% of the original shape size to 100%. You can also randomize the rotation. And so with that, you have created something which is way more random and looks really like a particle cloud. All right, so I think we've covered the basics. Let's go back maybe to the grid here and remove those adjustments here. So I'm going to release this repeater and go back to my little circle shape here. Let's look at another way to create a repeater, which is a shaped repeater. So for this, you need another shape. So let's draw a shape. And for this, we'll change the repeater creation mode. So when you go in the options here, there's a create mode, and we were previously create from all selected. Now we're going to choose create in largest object. So we're selecting both. And when we create the repeater is created within the largest object, which is this shape here. So it's a nice way to contain the data. And like if we go back to this random thing that we had before, you can create nice overlays, I would say, with that. Let's reduce a little bit the content, reduce the radius. So the other thing, you notice that the shapes are clipped within the bigger shape here. So there's an option here where you can choose to not clip the content. So if I unclick here, you see that now the shapes are allowed to go beyond the outline, but only the shapes which have a little part of them included within the bigger shape will get generated. So that's a way also to create some very natural looking clouds of particles. What you can do, let me change a little bit this shape here. I don't like this ellipse. Go back full circle. And maybe here, choose the size. Okay, so it's nicer. What you can do also is you can, I think you have to select the path here. No, here. And you can edit it. And the repeater will update automatically when you edit the shape. So that's great when you want to map a cloud of particles like this on your design. You can really adjust it very finely. All right, so that was it, I think, for the shaped repeater. Let me show you also that you can expand the repeater. And so when you expand it, it creates a clipping mask here, which contains all the small shapes. So you see that shapes are clipped again, but you can easily kind of select them. So there's a shortcut for that. Maybe let me show you. You can select the group here, and there's this select all members. So you group them, and then you can move them outside of the clipping mask, and now they're full again. So once the repeater is expanded, you can no longer adjust the parameters, but you can manipulate this group of shapes like any other vector graphic. You can export it to other software as well. All right, so now let's look at maybe the last thing, which is how to create a repeater with multiple shapes. So we'll take two shapes here. We'll change the repeater creation mode to work from all selected. Let me remove that one as well. Oops. So I need to go back to maybe, I will remove the adjustment. So each time you create a new repeater, it takes the previous repeater settings. So it's good to save some presets to be able to go back quickly to something you control. There's a lot of shapes here. So let me. All right, so it has created this repeater with the circle and the square, and you see it's alternating 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You can change the order of those shapes. So going to the advanced parameters here. Selection here allows you to choose various modes. So if you choose randomized, it will randomize the choice of shape 1 or shape 2. And the other mode I want to show you is this one, gradient. So gradient will use a gradient to choose either shape 1 or shape 2. So there's a threshold applied here to select one or the other. If we want to edit the gradient, you need to go to Edit Selection here, which opens another. So there's a lot of modal forms in VectorStyler, which is a bit off-putting at the beginning. But you see here the gradient is diagonal, so white, the whiter part of it selects the square, and the darker part of it selects the circle. You can change it, for instance, to concentric. So the preview doesn't work, but you see here now it has chosen the shape based on this gradient profile. That's a very nice feature. Now it's good with two shapes. We could be adding another shape, so let's maybe try to add another shape, a triangle, for instance. So there are multiple ways to add this triangle, but the one which I find the most flexible, I would say, is to use the symbols. So there's a symbol panel here in Styles, Symbols. So you can add this to the symbol panel, or you can choose also to change the role of this object. So that's also a feature in VectorStyler, which is a bit complicated to understand at the beginning, but very, very powerful once you get it. So object role. So I have a shortcut here, and I can assign the role symbol to this shape here. And you see it appears in the symbol panel. I think you can, if you don't have this shortcut like I did, you can access it here, object role, and symbol, which is checked for this shape here. So once this shape is a symbol, you can click the repeater, and here you can add this shape. It appears here, and now you have the three shapes. Let me make it a bit smaller, with more shapes. So we still have the gradient selection. So you see from the center, I think it was dark, chooses the third shape, mid tones the circle, and then light tones, it will choose the square. All right, I think I covered most I wanted to cover in this video. I hope it was useful, and I tried to do more videos to explore a little bit more the more advanced features of repeaters. Thank you for watching.